questions always go to the end part. What is the question asking? So we are asked here, so I'll highlight it again here, for the maximum speed. So if we have to look at speed, we are given h of t. That's your displacement. So if we're looking for speed, what do we have to do? Find the derivative. Perfect. However, if we're going to find the derivative, is that what you said? Or third root?
Third derivative.
What? So we're looking for the derivative for the speed. But in order to get this equation, we need a, little t, and big T. Keeping in mind that little t, this is what the function's based on. It's h of little t. So we won't solve for that. That will stay our variable in the equation. But regardless, we need a and we need t. So if we're looking for those two things, a is given in the question, 5 centimeters, and big T is right here. Can we solve for that? Let's do it. So anytime you have a G, it's always 9.8. And if we were to calculate this, let's calculate an approximate. What would it be? So that's right. You get approximately 2. Now I want to draw your attention to something, and I'll highlight in yellow, is our units here are meters per second. So whatever we're going to sub in for L has to be in meters. So we're okay here. Our 1 meters, we were in meters. Good to go. Sub everything back into our h of t. So we have h of t equals amplitude. We have 5 centimeters. However, everything else in our question has been meters. So let's take it to meters. What is 5 centimeters as meters? Good. And then we have cos 2 pi little t over big T, which we know. And then that can simplify. So we have h of t So now that we have our h of t, you guys said that we were looking for speed. And your speed or your velocity of a displacement, you find in your first derivative. So let's take the derivative of this. So we're finding h prime of t, which is the same as v of t. And we'll go through it slow. Your outside function and your inside function. This is a chain rule. What is your outside function? Good, and I'm going to keep it consistent, so I'll leave it as t. And our inside? Pi t, good. So we need our f prime and our g prime. What's our f prime? Whoops, that should be sine t. Because the derivative of cos is negative, so I just brought that negative up front. And the derivative of pi t is pi. So now let's follow our chain rule. So I'll take it back up here. Using the chain rule, we have the derivative of the outside function, negative 0.05 sine, but we have to keep g inside. So we take our g and we put it inside, and then we have to multiply by g prime, which is just pi. So we can simplify this a little bit. It's nicer if we keep all of the number parts together. So negative 0.05 pi, and then sine pi t. So now go ahead and find the derivative. If we find the derivative of velocity, what will it be? Acceleration. So you're finding h double prime of t, which is v prime of t, which is acceleration. And so try that on your own. So that will be your second derivative or your acceleration. Go ahead and now set it equal to 0. Now if we're going to solve, what's the first thing we can move? No, there's parts, there's number parts that we can move. That's right. This whole thing here is just a number. So let's move it all to the other side. So then we have 0 equals cos pi t. So there's different ways that you could do this. One way could be graphically. If you graph cos, we're trying to solve for t. So we want to see when cos equals 0, when will that be? So this spot here, 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 what is this? Pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. So when is cos having a y value of 0? The first one, 90 degrees. So that is the value we want, which means if we make sure that this is pi over 2, so cos of pi over 2, if you type cos of pi over 2 into your calculator, you're going to get 0. So that means that pi t has to equal pi over 2. So you end up with the same thing doing the inverse. And if you continue to solve for t, you divide it by pi, divided by pi. So you have pi over 2 divided by pi, which is pi over 2 times 1 over pi, which is 1/2. So your t equals 1/2. So now we have to find the maximum speed. And our speed equation was our velocity equation, and that was negative 0.05 sine, or pi, sine pi over t. And we now know that our t is 1/2. And what do we get?